Well, I believe that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is the correct way to go, and the way that the government has set things up is that we're really enslaved.
Okay.
And so for me, becoming a sovereign is the same thing Ben Franklin did, it's the same thing George Washington did, and hopefully everyone, you, your cameraman, all the people that are out in the news will be able to gain their freedom back and be freed from the slavery of the system. And so for me, it's not about revolution. It's not about hating my country or my government. It's about loving my country. And I hope that people would join in. And I think you're going to see a lot of people hopefully change their hearts, because that's what this is about. This is about the people, we the people. I have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as does everyone. And so the way the system is set up, they're taking that away. You know, from speed cameras to taxes to, you go right down the list. I mean, everything that happens today is for money. You know, it's not about anything. It's not about justice. You know, the way it works is there's God, and then man, then the government. And what the government has done is they said it's God. Well, there is no God. It's just the government. The government is God, and we have to listen and obey them. We have to bow down and worship them. And so, you know, that's not our country. Our country is about being free under God. This is about being lawful. This is about doing the lawful thing. And so, you know, how do we do it? There's no way for us to fight in the system. But there is ways for me to fight as a sovereign. And when I declare my sovereignty, I'm saying I want to free all Americans. I want everyone to be free. And I don't want it to be through violence. I don't want it to be through separatism. I don't want to go move into some encampment in the middle of nowhere. I don't want to take advantage or hurt anyone. I want to be free.
So according to ABC News, where this clip came from, an FBI notice issued in April, and this was back in 2010, says that those involved in the sovereign citizen movement, quote, believe they don't have to answer to any government authorities. But East Valley resident Jonathan, who calls himself a sovereign, explains his philosophy. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, everything that Jonathan just said, I can 100% get behind. But now, talk to me about the application of those ideas. What are you going to do with those thoughts? How are you going to apply them in your day-to-day life? And that's what we're here to discuss tonight on Open Mic Night. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Open Mic Night. I am your host, Tommy. And unfortunately, you are just going to have me this evening. So I'm going to rely on the YouTube to be my guest host tonight, as I'll be covering a story that I've kind of been glued to for maybe a week or two. And it's on the topic of what is a sovereign citizen. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of these people or not, but essentially they feel like the laws of the state or of the U.S. government don't apply to them in some way because of whatever constitutional amendments. They kind of pick and choose different laws, and they, combine them all into this one argument about why things why they don't have to have a driver's license, why they don't have a car registration, why they don't have to have insurance. Some of these people, most of the videos that I've been watching are from this guy, from this, YouTube channel called Law Talk with Mike. He seems like a nice enough guy and stuff, but I don't know. I'm not really watching the videos for Mike. I'm watching them because of the nonsense that is in his videos, outside of their small talk or commentary. So, if you kind of dig this topic, Feel free to check out his YouTube channel. I'm actually going to poach one of his, or some of the audio from one of his videos, but I'm not going to be including any of his commentary. I would like to just play the audio for you, let you guys hear it for yourself, and then I want to pause on occasion and kind of do some of my own commentary, if you don't mind. The reason why I'm having to use YouTube today as my host, if you listen to our Christmas special, you would have heard that my lovely wife, Stacy, got diagnosed a few days ago with the flu. It essentially made us cancel all of our Christmas plans with family and friends that we had. And unfortunately, Lucas and I both decided that it wasn't worth the risk for him to come to the studio this evening, to do an episode with the risk of him possibly becoming infected himself and then him taking it home to his family. So we just thought it was in the best interest, but I didn't really want to go a whole week without putting out something. So I did a couple of Christmas episodes where I released some of our previous Funtime Horror shows for you guys, a couple of my favorites. So again, if you didn't hear those, go back, check them out. It's completely different. If you're not familiar with Funtime Horror Show, if you only know us from here, it's going to be completely different than anything that you've heard on the show. It's highly researched and written and produced, and I find it very entertaining. It's just really, really, really hard to do those kind of episodes, and when this is like literally a hobby and you're not sure if people are taking interest or not, and you're definitely not making any money off of it, it only costs money. It's hard to dedicate that much time and effort. So with that said, I think since also Stacy's kind of the topic of conversation with this show, since it's all her fault that she got sick and now we can't record together, I think for fun, there was a couple of other old episodes that came to mind where like she wanted to get like involved with Funtime Horror Show. And so we kind of did some, I don't want to call them softball episodes, but they weren't like just downright brutal and gory like the other stories that we were doing. These were kind of like fun episodes. So if you don't mind, I think because I love my wife so much, it would be really cool to go back and revisit those episodes that I recorded with her. And I will probably get those released this evening as well. So if all goes according to plan, with the 2 archives I released yesterday, with this episode, and with the next 2 archives that I'm going to release after this episode, hopefully, that'll give you a total of 5 new episodes to listen to this week. So hope you guys appreciate that. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you guys had just a very blessed holiday season. And without further ado, I'm going to kind of be clicking back and forth between the video and the mic. So bear with me because I've never really recorded an episode like this before. So if it sounds a little choppy or weird or whatever, it's just because I'm ignorant and it's literally my first time. So be gentle. With that said, let me go ahead and click pause on the mic, and I'm going to click play on the video, and we'll just see where this party takes us.
I'm Trooper Robbins. The reason I'm stopping you is because your registration's expired. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What's the emergency and how can I help you?
I can't hear you.
What's the emergency?
I pulled you over because your registration's expired.
Okay, so let's go ahead and stop there. I've noticed a trend with a lot of these videos where when the police officer pulls up behind these people, of course they have their lights on, right? Because, to prevent any kind of like safety hazard or something like that. But apparently, a police officer pulling them over and having their lights on is offensive, and apparently, goes against their constitutional rights as an American citizen, because it's not actually an emergency, and those lights are in fact supposed to be emergency lights, and therefore the police are basically pulling them over and trying to speak to them under false pretenses.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the emergency and how can I help you?
I can't hear you.
What's the emergency?
I pulled you over because your registration's expired.
Okay. So
It expired back in April.
Okay, so
Can I see your license, registration, insurance, please?
So there's no emergency and nothing I can help you with?
Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Is there an emergency and is there something I can help you with, sir?
Again, jumping in, the reason why the cop keeps saying, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, whatever. This is also a pattern with all these videos. These people are apparently instructed to have their window rolled down like 1 inch. Okay. Like basically just enough to be able to like communicate and slide documentation back and forth between the officer. And when I say, like this is what they're instructed to do, I probably should mention too, that apparently some of these people, well, all of these people are basically getting this nonsense from online websites and from the thousands of YouTube videos that there are professing, this, like I said, this type of information to these people, right? And they become brainwashed in a way where they have like all this official documentation. They receive all these things, all this information, these things that look like actual like legal documentation. They reference like laws and section C of, class this and that. And according to Constitution Amendment, this chapter, whatever verse, I know it's not the Bible, but I'm just saying, so you understand what I'm talking about. These people are working out of a packet. And as this video goes, you'll actually hear some of this. Okay. Just a spoiler alert. At some point, it seems like this woman didn't come up with all this shit by herself. She sounds like she has a man in her life, possibly a boyfriend or a husband who has probably like implanted this shit into her brain. As the conversation goes on with the officer, you can also tell that this woman has probably never had like any form of independent thought whatsoever. Like she's just solely doing what she's been told to do by this guy who's eventually going to get on the speakerphone, who's just a complete idiot. And by the way, people, none of these people ever get away with this shit. Almost every single video I've ever seen, it always results in at least them getting citations. And about half of them, it results in windows getting bashed out, people getting dragged out of the car, and them being arrested on the side of the highway with their cars towed. So just keep that in mind if you ever think about going down this path, or if you know what sovereign citizenship is and you're kind of like thinking about it. Literally, I can't find a single like case or anything where these people actually win. The only time you're going to see videos of when these people claim to win is they start filming these things like right away. Like they click record on their phone, and all they're trying to do is be as a big of a pain in the ass to the officer that pulled them over as they possibly humanly can be. They just want to be a huge pain in the ass. They want to waste a bunch of time. And I think what happens is eventually like these cops probably get a call about a robbery or a shooting or something. And then they're like, you know what? Here's your stuff. Here's your information back. Here's all your nonsense. I got to go. Because they have like real shit to go do. Okay. But these people don't ever like show that part. All they say is like, oh, see, the officer gave up because he realized he was breaking the law, and he realized that he was, tramping on my constitutional rights as a citizen of the United States or whatever. And it's just bullshit. Anyway, back to the video.
Ma'am, I need to see your license, registration, insurance, please.
All right, so one more time. Is there an emergency and is there something I can help you with?
It doesn't have to be an emergency. I stopped you for a reason.
Okay. I mean, you're recording, right?
I can't hear you.
You're recording?
I am recording.
Okay. Just want to make sure I have this recorded as well.
Can I see your license, registration, insurance, please?
Hold on 1 second, sir.
Okay, so this is the point where she's going to basically call this dude that I told you about, and he's basically going to just start, not only, condoning her behavior, but he's going to be like pushing her to continue with the plan, right, of resisting the simple request that this police officer is trying to make.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Alright, so this is my affidavit of status. Go ahead and read it.
Can I see it?
Yes.
So what is this for?
That is my affidavit of status. So you can go ahead and read it, or if you need to speak with your supervisor, you can submit that to him
So,
too.
do you have a driver's license?
Go ahead and read the affidavit of status, sir.
Okay, so what this affidavit of status is basically it's kind of like their permission slip according to whatever program they've signed up for or whoever, you know, they bought their sovereign citizen kit from. It's basically showing all the rules and regulations that, you know, are like basically is what's expected of us as like United States citizens when it comes to driving. And based on the videos that I've been able to see, which, like I said, at this point, it's been probably 100 of them, if I had to guess, over like the last week or two. There is always this argument about, number one, they like to fight about whether or not they're driving. So a lot of these people say, well, I'm not driving. I'm not a driver. I'm not a driver. I'm not operating in the process of commerce. I'm not making money off of me operating this motor vehicle. And that's another thing too. They'll say things like, well, this is not a motor vehicle, so it doesn't apply to your states or your laws against motor vehicles because this is not a motor vehicle. This is my personal property. So number one, I'm not an operator. I'm not a driver. They'll refer to themselves as travelers. I'm traveling, and it's perfectly legal for someone in this country to travel from point A to point B, as long as we're not in the like motions of, you know, having commerce or making money off of that driving. So if you're making money off of it, that's the only time that you actually need to have a driver's license, have a registration. You don't need a registration because it's not used for commercial business, and because the constitutional laws that they like to refer to say that it is perfectly legal for a person to have their personal property in the state of like travel, of free travel.
All right, give me 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Babe,
Are you recording?
I got pulled over. Yes. All right, so I'm here on in between Val Vista on the 60 heading east on Val Vista and or on the 60 heading east between Val Vista and Greenfield.
Did you go into a church parking lot? Someone's private?
No, because I'm on a freeway.
Dude, you're supposed to put your emergency lights and go to a private area.
Yes, but yeah, I'm on the freeway and he was already anyway, I'm recording right now.
Okay, so the police officer actually ends up taking her, you know, her statement, right? Like her affidavit of status or whatever it is. And, you know, he actually takes time to read it, which doesn't happen in a lot of these videos. A lot of these guys say, you know, I'm not reading that, I'm not taking that, whatever. But he actually like takes it, he looks it over, and then he says, I'll be right back. And so he just left, he's walking to his car, and now she's basically summarizing with her man guy about the events that have taken part so far. And I don't know if you caught it in the audio, but he, you know, he's basically like, well, where are you? And she's like, I'm on the side of the highway. And he says, well, why didn't you pull into like a church or a private driveway or something? And she's like, I'm literally on the fucking highway. Like he was like on the highway and I'm on the highway. Like, you know, it's like he expected her to like wait a mile, exit, then get on the feeder, drive a little whiles and, you know, 3 to 5 miles until there was a church and then pull in, or a private driveway, like a friend's driveway or something. Like it just doesn't make sense. But apparently, from what I've taken from some of these other videos, there's something about, another obstacle that you can throw at a cop if your car is like parked on private property. 'Cause you could say, well, I'm not operating on a public road. I'm in my personal property on private property. Therefore, you have no jurisdiction. That's basically what I took from it.
And my affidavit of status.
Okay, good.
And I let him know that I asked him if he was recording, and said yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Jessica.
And I rolled down my window only 2 inches. Yep. The doors are locked. And he pulled me over because my registration expired in April.
Yeah, that's fine. And also, we should have read the back of the car. This is a new car stating that it's not commercial.
Right. When he comes back, if he asks any more questions.
I just don't know. I cannot answer any questions because I don't have assistance of counsel at the moment.
Okay. And then, hold on.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
That says nothing about you having a license.
What's that?
That says nothing about you having a driver's license.
Yeah, well, I don't operate in commerce.
I can't hear you.
Sir, I don't operate in commerce.
Ma'am, you are driving a motor vehicle in the state of Arizona. You need a driver's license.
This is my automobile, and I don't do it for commerce, sir.
Can you please step out for me?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Can you please step out for me?
Sir, I'm not going to do that. I can provide you with my ID.
Okay, can I get your date of birth?
What's that?
Can I get your date of birth?
Do you want me?
Not answer any questions.
Do you want me to give you my ID?
Do you have an ID?
I do have an ID.
Can I see it, please?
Yes. Hold on 1 second.
All right, sorry to cut in again, guys, but I forgot that during this video, you know, the guy's channel that this is on, and he has like some guests and stuff. They're like consistently and constantly interrupting, and I don't want to catch any of that stuff in this podcast episode. So anyway, I'll go ahead and cut it there because there's another video that I want to share with you anyway. But basically, you're kind of getting the gist. Like, these people don't feel like they have to listen to an officer's orders. They don't have to follow directions, that they don't need to abide by the laws of the state or even by the federal government because those things don't apply to them. And what's interesting is during the time that I was watching this video and stuff, I'm kind of searching online and stuff, and actually came across this PDF, and it's at info.publicintelligence.net/FBI-sovereign-citizens.pdf. And basically it's a PDF that says Sovereign Citizens, an introduction for law enforcement. So it says that this is unclassified and that it's law enforcement sensitive. I don't really, and it says that it's written by the Domestic Terrorism Operations Unit 2. And this was all the way back in 2010. Which is kind of interesting because from what I understand, the movement has been around for a while, but it really seemed to start catching fire, right, like during the pandemic, right? Like during COVID, it seemed like, maybe people were just at home, bored, playing around on the internet all day, and a bunch of people came across all this stuff and they really started like grasping onto it and oh, there must be some truth to this. But what was really interesting was there's actually a definition of what the sovereign citizen ideology is, which would be important for this podcast. So let me just read through it real quick. It says that sovereign citizens believe the government is operating outside of its jurisdiction and generally do not recognize federal, state, or local laws, policy, or governmental regulations. They subscribe to a number of conspiracy theories, including a prevalent theory which the United States government became bankrupt and began using citizens as collateral in trade agreements with foreign governments. That I've never heard, so this is new for me. They believe secret bank accounts exist at the United States Department of Treasury. These accounts can be accessed using Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, Universal Commercial Code, UCC, and fraudulent financial documents. Sovereign citizens are known to travel the country conducting training seminars on debt elimination schemes. The seminars focus on obtaining funds from a secret, quote, straw man account using legitimate IRS forms, UCC forms, and fraudulent financial documents. Sovereign citizens believe once the documentation is filed, they gain access to their, quote, straw man account with the Treasury Department. The purpose of this primer is to assist law enforcement in the identification of sovereign citizen extremist activity to prevent, detect, and or deter acts associated with sovereign citizen criminal activity. And as I continue reading, I actually found another really interesting paragraph that reminded me of something else that I've seen in a lot of these videos. Sovereign citizens believe that the United States government is illegitimate and has drifted away from the true intent of the Constitution. As a result, the United States government is not perceived to be acting in the interest of the American people. These groups generally do not adhere to federal, state, or local laws. Some sovereign citizens believe that federal and state officials have no real authority, and will only recognize the local sheriff's department as the only legitimate government official. Other law enforcement officials are viewed as being oppressive and illegitimate. So it was the part about the sheriff's department that kind of stuck out to me, because in several of these videos, many people will either usually ask for a supervisor. And usually when the supervisor arrives, that's usually when the windows get busted out and people get dragged onto the concrete for committing a crime. And I thought that was kind of like excessive, right? Like, well, I didn't know if it was like borderline excessive or not, but I didn't understand why they were being arrested. And usually the charge that people get arrested for when, say, they refuse to like give a driver's license or provide car insurance or something like that. Essentially, the way that I've heard it explained is the police are in the process of conducting an investigation. When they pull you over, when you have committed a violation of the law and they're pulling you over, they're actively going through the motion of conducting an investigation. And when you're being disruptive or uncooperative, you're basically interfering with that police officer's investigation. And that essentially is enough to be arrested for. But anyway, back to the sheriff's department comment of this paper. That is something that is also happens a lot. You'll have a state trooper, right, pull you over for a speeding violation, or a lot of these people don't have license plates on their car. Sometimes they'll put like the things that you might see on somebody's fence, right, or on their property line. It says private property. They actually put that in place of a license plate because, again, that's their private property, and they don't have a reason to have a license plate or a registration tag. And so whenever they get pulled over by even these high-ranking local, like state policemen, they'll sometimes ask for a sheriff's department officer. So, in addition to traffic stops, it actually, like, this ideology actually like stems into other aspects of life, and another big part of where the sovereign citizen argument comes to play is in court. And I found this really cool. A couple videos here. Like this first one is from Court Cam. I guess it's from A&E. Anyway, I'll play like a minute or two for you of this. But what you'll hear is they'll say something like, let's say your name's John Smith. Okay. They'll say, okay, we need John Smith to come up, and nobody comes up. And they're like, is John Smith, are you not John Smith? Like, you, sir, are you not John Smith? And they'll basically be something like, well, that's like the identity that was assigned to me. Like, that's my government identity, but that's not who I am as a person. And I don't know. It's just really, really, really strange. There was even this thing where, I don't know if you ever realized this or not. And I really haven't looked at my documentation, but like your social security card and your driver's license, right? It'll have your name in all capital letters. Even your birth certificate has your name in all capital letters. Well, if they spell John with capital J, lowercase O-H-N, capital S, lowercase M-I-T-H for Smith, well, then that's not the same person, and therefore whatever. So anyway, I've even heard strange things like, somebody, anyway, let me just play the video. You'll see for yourself.
We're in Charleston, West Virginia for a pretrial hearing.
Henry T. Eldon. Henry T. Eldon. Henry T. Eldon.
Henry T. Eldon is in the courtroom, but he is refusing the magistrate's order to come forward to the defendant's table.
I have called him thrice. I have no response. Get up here in this seat right now.
That's right. The judge called him thrice. Eldon is facing multiple charges, including fraudulent official proceedings and fraudulent service of indebtedness related to falsely filing claims with the court. Today, he's joined in the courtroom by a friend who's recording the proceedings on his cell phone and getting involved himself.
I'm a witness, okay? Okay, what I'm saying is he is present, and he's chosen not to step up there. He's asking not for an appointed lawyer. He doesn't need an attorney.
So you're acting in the capacity
I'm not
of a lawyer?
acting. I'm a witness.
You're a
This is
witness?
American National.
American National.
American National is another nod to the sovereign citizen movement that both he and the defendant identify with. Eventually, Eldon does respond to the magistrate, Ward Harshbarger, but still refuses to come forward.
The court reporter has to be established before anything can proceed.
Well, okay, well, get up in your seat now, and we will wait for that. We have some preliminary thing.
We're all waiting for the court reporter to be...
Do it now. All right, this is State versus Henry T. Eldon Jr. Mr. Eldon, I need to have a seat at the defendant's table.
For the record, I'm
Shut
a
up and
witness.
sit down. You sit down and not say another word.
Seemingly getting more aggravated, the magistrate turns to his courtroom deputy for assistance.
Would you get Mr. Eldon? Let me show you where the seat is, please.
May I have permission?
You may have a seat right there. You may have a seat right there.
Eldon finally gets up to the stand before the judge, but it won't be for long.
You are going to be held in contempt.
All right, Mr. Eldon, can you just stand up for me, please? Turn around and place your hands behind your back, if you would.
And who are you? And do you have a warrant, a signed
I do
warrant?
not have a warrant. I've just been made aware by the judge that he wants me to take you into custody for obstructing judicial process, okay?
But before the magistrate had the defendant arrested and cuffed, he pulls a final move out of every parent's playbook and counts to 3.
1. Have a seat. 2. Have a seat, please.
I would like to speak, and I have information to present. I don't know how I'm instructing.
Last warning.
You won't comply
Get in the
with what he's
seat
asking
and
you
we'll
to do.
proceed.
Again, locked in a stalemate, the magistrate decides to just get down to business.
How do you plead?
I would like to see your oath of office. I'd like to see your letter accepting and acknowledging your office. And I would like to see the same for the prosecuting attorney and to know the names of everyone in this room. I need that before I understand what's going on, sir.
So that was a pretty long clip, and before I begin, in order for me to abide by copyright laws, I'm allowed to use clips from these types of things in long as I'm using them in the form of a review. And with the spirit of reviewing, I will say that Court Cam on A&E is a fantastic show. My wife and I are extremely addicted to it, and you guys should check it out. And with that, that should cover all of our bases. So the guy finally, he's basically being ordered to be taken into custody by the, I guess the bailiff of the court, right? The officers that are there. And then all of a sudden he wants to start talking, and then the judge says, okay, well, I'll give you one more chance, have a seat, and we can go ahead and start these preliminary, proceedings. And then he says, well, but before I do that, I basically want to see your oath of office. I want to see the letter that was signed in accordance with your oath. I need to see the same thing for the prosecution, and I need a list of everyone's names, of everyone that's in the courtroom. So it's hilarious. In what world are you living in, bro? What world are you living in where, who are you? How much power do you have? And what planet are you from? Anyway, let me see if I can dive in here and find another example from a courtroom.
To you, sir.
Good morning.
What is your middle name? Can you remove your hat, please? And your scarf. What is your middle name, Mr. Garner?
Errol.
Earl?
No.
He's on the 1:30 docket, Your Honor, I believe.
James Garner. Earl Garner. James Errol Garner, right?
Yes.
You are on the 1:30 docket.
If you want, Your Honor, I can give House Counsel an offer right now. She can report it to him.
On James Garner, do you see all the cases he has?
I see just the 4 that are on the docket, or 5.
Yes.
You've got more?
He's got plenty more.
Okay. You want me to come down, review, and do a global offer?
If you could, please.
Okay, I'm on my way down.
Mr. Garner, do you want to offer on these or do you want to go to trial?
I would like to know what the charges are.
Okay. This is the city of Detroit versus James Earl Garner. Case number SP 11000435, counts 1, 2, and 3. SP 116950. Those are driving license expired, misdemeanor, no insurance, insurance misdemeanor. Thank you. And an improper plate misdemeanor. All of them punishable by maximum possible penalty of 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. SP 1169507, counts 1 and counts 2, expired license and no insurance misdemeanor, both punishable by 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. SP 1169521, same improper plates, same punishment, $500 and 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, maximum possible penalty.
Okay.
Sherika Harris on behalf of Mr. Garner. Mr. Garner, please state your name for the record.
First off, I do have a couple.
You got to state your name first. You got to state your name first.
No,
Let's start there.
Wait a minute, Ms. Harris. Wait a minute, Ms. Harris. I think Mr. Garner is going to represent himself. Am I correct, Mr. Garner?
I'm representing myself in what? I mean, I'm confused about what's actually going on. First off, who's alleging these charges? That's what I'm curious about.
So, guys, this one took a little long to get started, but already we can tell that there's going to be a lot of shenanigans with this gentleman, and I'm actually pretty excited to see what he's going to say. So let's jump back in.
No, I think, wait a minute, Ms. Harris. Wait a minute, Ms. Harris. I think Mr. Garner is going to represent himself. Am I correct, Mr. Garner?
I'm representing myself in what? I mean, I'm confused about what's actually going on. First off, who's alleging these charges? That's what I'm curious about.
State of Michigan, city of Detroit.
Okay, well, if that's the case, there's a common law principle which states that for there to be a crime, there must be a victim. Corpus delicti. The state cannot be the injured party. And in the absence of a victim, there can be no crime.
So what he just said, with the absence of a victim, there cannot be a crime. This one is actually used quite a lot too in a lot of the traffic stops that I was talking about previously. So when these people don't have a registration, or when they don't have a driver's license, or when they don't have like a proof of insurance, or when they're speeding or they run a red light, the list goes on and on and on. One of the arguments is, well, I technically didn't commit a crime because there was no victim involved.
Withdrawing my name from the record on that one. Thank you.
I know. How do you want to proceed, Mr. Garner? You set the matter. I'll enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. Give him a $0 bond. Either set the matter for trial, or I'll wait for the city to give you an offer. What do you want to do?
Well, the court haven't even established jurisdiction. I mean, in order for jurisdiction has to be established first, and there's no jurisdiction established. And once jurisdiction is challenged, that must be settled before charges can be brought.
All right. Do you want to put that in a motion, sir?
as far as I'm concerned, any and all charges must be dismissed because there is no complaining witness. And the state cannot be.
I'm not gonna listen. If that's your motion, I'm gonna deny the motion. Okay? So all we're gonna do now, we're not gonna keep going back and forth. Either you take an offer or you set the matter for trial. Which one do you want?
Respectfully, in order for this to continue, there must be a complaining witness, and the state cannot be a complaining witness. Now, if I'm entitled to a fair trial, the law states there must be a victim. I'm just requesting, who is the victim? Who did I injure?
The citizens of the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan are the victims.
The state cannot be a victim. And if that's the case,
I said the citizens of the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan are the victims.
If that's the case,
Mr. Garner, can we just go into a breakout room and then maybe I can give you a little bit of advice to assist you with moving forward? Would you be agreeable to that?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
So the nice lady that was originally going to help this gentleman out with his case, like, I don't know if it was a public defendant or his lawyer or whatever, since he basically just kept, running over what she was trying to discuss, the judge said, well, I think it sounds like you want to, defend yourself. He basically said yes, so he goes off on his thing. And then she's nice enough to like come back in. And by the way, this is a video court proceeding. So that's why the audio is kind of weird. Basically the judge, the prosecutor, the defense attorney, and the defendant is all like on their own cameras, right? And their own mics. But she basically comes in and says, hey, let me let's meet, or let's go to the side and we can actually discuss, and I'm going to give you some advice. And he comes in with the same bullshit. And of course, these things always end the same way.
Himself.
Let's go back on the record with Garner. What do you want to do, Mr. Garner? Do you want a trial date or you want an offer? Those are really your only two options.
Okay, since we are on the record, all I'm asking for is the
Okay, one last time. Now listen, here's how it's going to go from this point on. If you don't answer the question that I asked specifically, then I'm going to hold you in contempt of court, and we're going to move from that point on, right? Get up, Mr. Raymond.
So you're telling me...
Mr. Garner. We're not going to have a conversation.
It's just going to violate
the conversation. Stop, sir. Now, that's the last time I'm going to ask you to speak
on the law. Is that what I'm hearing?
All right.
I'm asking.
I'm going to hold Mr. Garner in contempt of court. He is directly violating the court's order. I've asked him repeatedly to not interfere or add any extra commentary to this case. I've given him ample time to answer the court's question, and he continues to refuse to do so. So now I'm going to hold you in contempt, and I'm going to sentence you to 30 days Wayne County Jail. No early release.
So that means that the court is just going to violate my rights because I'm defending myself? Is that what I'm hearing?
30 days, Wayne County Jail, no early release.
So there you have it. 30 days in jail, no early release. God damn, man. It's like, I don't know. And don't think that this is one or two crazy people. This is a whole movement, guys. This is a whole movement. And I'm telling you, if you feel like you're being seduced by this movement yourself, if you're diving into it, if you're thinking about sending money to get your sovereign citizen kit delivered to you in the mail and stuff like that, you're literally wasting your time and your money. It doesn't work. It's not real. It's a gimmick. It's a scam. It sounds amazing. But just don't do it. Don't do it. And with that warning, I think I'm going to get out of here. I implore you to get on YouTube, search out sovereign citizen, traffic stops, court TV, stuff like that. It seems like A&E and this attorney Mike person has like a freaking stronghold on the subject matter, because I was really struggling finding videos to share with you guys as examples that didn't have like A&E's freaking music playing over the audio, or attorney Mike making, commentary over the video the entire time. But if this like interests you at all, definitely seek it out, look at it. It's totally entertaining. I've literally been listening to these videos like driving home, driving to work, driving around the day, when I work out, and then I was lucky enough to get a Bluetooth speaker recently for the shower. I've even listened to some of that while I'm washing up my nether regions with soapy suds. So anyway, guys, I guess we'll leave it there. I hope this comes out as good as I hope it does, like this recording, the way that I put this together. It's kind of tough to honestly talk into a microphone to yourself out loud without having some Mexicans' brown eyes staring back at you and witty commentary coming back into your ears. So anyway, we love you guys. Thank you so much for checking us out again, and we'll talk to you later.